Of Virginia, EWJ.
Well, thank you all so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I was here not too long ago as a candidate to become your nominee, and it's great to be back as the nominee for Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. Thank you all so much. I want to thank you all who voted for me on the first vote, those who voted on the second vote, those who voted on the third vote, those who voted on the fourth vote. Thank you. Thank you. And if you didn't get around to voting for me, you'll have your chance in November. I trust I'll get it then. And of course, I thank God because it was really a wonderful synergy that happened at that convention. I think it shocked a lot of people, and frankly, up until about the last month, we would have been shocked too, but we sensed that something was happening all across the Commonwealth, and we came into that convention with a great deal of confidence. In fact, not complaining about it, but we kind of thought that if they had announced the results right away, what the numbers were, we might have gotten out of there a little earlier. But it didn't work out that way, and thank you all for staying all the way through. Some of you were there at 10 o'clock, 10:30, by the time we came out on stage as a troop, as the ticket. So I'm just grateful to all of you and grateful to be here. Now, I was told that I should talk about, well, first of all, my good friend Senator Garrett, thank you. I'm glad to see you always. And for you wonderful panelists. I was told to talk about what it means to be a conservative. And so I'm just going to share with you just a couple of thoughts that I have about the subject and get out of your way. I know you all have already been here. You've heard, I'm sure, some wonderful things already tonight. Because obviously I consider myself a conservative. Although the things they've been saying about me in the newspaper lately, I was talking to Pat Mullins not too long ago, and Pat said he has got a friend who told him one time, you know, I was really looking forward to this race. He said, then after they started writing about me in the newspaper, my wife and I looked at each other and said, you know, I don't think I'm going to vote for me either. I mean, you know, so I've had a little of those feelings myself here lately. But look, first of all, for me, a conservative here in America is committed to the Constitution of the United States. That's number one. You all know I took an oath in August of 1970 to the Constitution. That oath never had an expiration date. You veterans in here know exactly what I'm talking about. We pledged ourselves to it and not to a man, to principle and not to a person. And it seems to me a conservative always remembers that Constitution is our supreme law of the land, and we must protect it and preserve it and defend it. And folks, what more could happen to demonstrate to us that it is under profound assault? I mean, we've been saying this and saying it, and maybe other Americans are finally waking up to the fact that we've got a group of people trying to run this country who are running it into the ground because they don't respect us, they don't respect our Constitution, they don't respect our freedom, they don't respect our institutions. And you know what? We're going to kick them all out eventually. We're going to get the people in there who do. I mean, it is frightening to think that they're actually monitoring the records, the phone records of 100 million Americans. 100 million of us. Now, look, I have major problems with the Patriot Act. I think it needs to be thrown out anyway, but this is proof positive that it really needs to go, because you get somebody like Obama in there and you find out just what abuse it's subject to, and they think it's okay. It is not okay. It is not consistent with our Constitution. So that's number one. Number two, a conservative is committed to core principles. Core principles. What are they? Faith. I'm not talking about a particular religious denomination or theology. I've tried to tell these reporters, you know, I'm not running to be theologian for Virginia or to be pastor of Virginia. I'm running for lieutenant governor of Virginia, and that's a public policy position, and there is a difference. So please tell people that when they start asking you about about some of the things that they dredge out and take out of context and try to blow up to make me seem like a really horrible person, that I am running for lieutenant governor. I am not trying to be the theologian for the people of Virginia. But we do have to be committed to the core principle that our rights and freedoms do not come from government. They come from our Creator. That's where they come from. And therefore they are inherent in who we are as human beings. Nobody gives them to us, folks. Our Constitution doesn't even give them to us. Our Constitution was written to secure those liberties that are inherent in who we are as human beings. That's a core principle. Faith. And then family, the fundamental institution of society. That is a core principle. Folks, look, you don't need to be a theologian to know it's the best way to rear children. It's the most fundamental government in our culture. The family is a kind of government. It is where we learn the art of self-governance, because our founding fathers believed that we best govern when we govern ourselves, and therefore we don't need the heavy hand of some federal government, or for that matter, any state or local government, telling us everything that we are supposed to and not supposed to do, and dictating and controlling our lives. Family is a core principle. And folks, I believe that the homeschooling movement and the parental choice movement is going to be the salvation of this country in many ways, because it's going to return us to families teaching their children the values that they need and that make them effective and productive Americans. And then, of course, the core value of freedom. Freedom. Folks, our founding fathers didn't believe that freedom was license. They believed that freedom was the ability to reach the highest place to which your abilities, your God-given potential could take you. You know, when the founding fathers used the phrase pursuit of happiness, they weren't talking about pursuit of license, pursuit of anything. They were talking about the pursuit of moral and spiritual excellence. They were talking about developing your character to be a wholly integrated individual, to be someone of decency and honor and integrity. That's what they were talking about. That's what they meant by pursuit of happiness. We've now changed that to mean basically pursuit of profligacy and hedonism and just kind of anything you want to do. But our founding fathers said that a moral and religious people were essential to our freedom as a constitutional republic, precisely so that we would govern ourselves rather than having government trying to dictate everything to us. So freedom is a third core principle. And then here's the third thing, and I'll leave you with this. And I brought a quote. The other thing that makes us conservatives, in my humble opinion, is a sense of cultural absolutism. Now, what do I mean by cultural absolutism? It is part of moral absolutism. The idea that there are truths and there are absolutes which are not subject to revision and not subject to amendment and not subject to change. I mean, think about this, folks. We are dealing with an effort to introduce, or really to make predominant, the idea of moral and cultural relativism. Do you know how dangerous that is? That's very, very dangerous, because look, if there are no ultimate moral absolutes, then might makes right. Well, why is it not right to murder someone? Well, I guess if you've got the ability to do it and they can't stop you, and you can take the force that you need to get what you want, I guess it is right. I mean, is it just a matter of opinion? No, it's not right because some of us don't like it. No, I believe it's not right because we've been given moral absolutes by our Creator, and it is never right to steal. Do you know there are cultures in which it is right to steal? If you have the power, the ability, the force to take what belongs to someone else, then you can make it rightfully yours, and that's fine. Not here. We believe that ownership. You know, George Washington's favorite scripture was in the book of Amos, that every man might sit under his own vine and under his own fig tree, and none would make them afraid. The idea of ownership, that you've got a right to that which is yours, and nobody should be able to take it away. But moral and cultural relativism says none of that matters. You know what that leads us to? That leads us to genocide. It leads us to the Holocaust. It leads us to people doing whatever they feel they want to do to advance their own interests. And that's not who we are as Americans. Now, I wanted to share with you a quote that I think sort of symbolizes what cultural absolutism, moral and cultural absolutism mean. Now, it's not by an American, and some of you have probably already seen this because it circulated. One circulated a couple of years ago, and now another one has circulated by Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard. And here's what she said: "I am tired of this nation worrying about whether we are offending some individual or their culture. Immigrants must adapt. Muslims who want to live under Islamic Sharia law should get out.